Ladies and gentlemen, here we are with a woman who is trying to be the best wrestler in the world. She just got a gold medal in Mexico just a week or two ago. Good to see you, Forrest Molinari.
Thank you for having me, man.
Forrest, I've been watching you wrestle and you are super aggressive. I feel like you're a car that's just in drive. The car has no reverse. You only
No.
can go forward and you can only attack. Obviously extremely technically sound. Like your sweep singles phenomenal. I love anything you're doing with the upper body with these girls. It seems like a lot of the girls at the highest level want to avoid clinching up with you. They want to do just like athletic stuff from the outside, beat you on some sort of
hmm
quickness. I don't see them beating you on just going head to head and having better technique. Before we went on, though, you said that people kind of, call you more of the bull in the china shop. And from what I see,
Yep.
you have very high level technique, Forrest. What do you think?
Yeah. It's funny you even use that phrase, "born in a China shop," because my mom says that about me all the time. uh, but no, I mean, yeah, I am a brawler. I know that, but I do everything very technically. It's just at a crazy high pace, like we were just talking about. So yeah, it's gonna make me look like a brawler because people are just getting dragged to deep water, and I'm drowning them out there because they just can't hang with the pace that I set the wrestling at. But there is so much technically that goes on with how I hand fight, my shots, finishing my shots, all of it, the tactical part of it. I mean, that's all we talk about in the wrestling room. I already can bring the pace. It's the technical stuff that I really dial in on. And yeah, no one. I mean, I know everyone's game plan against me. They want to wrestle outside. They don't want to tie up at all. They don't want to hand fight me with me because if they do, they're gonna drown. Like they're never gonna be able to keep up with me. I know everyone's game plan for me. It's exactly the same whether you're a foreigner or you're domestic trying to beat me. It ain't gonna happen. Sorry. Once I get my hands on, it's all over for you. And also, you said just trying to wrestle like athletic, like outside with me. I think people forget I'm pretty fast for my weight too. I got some quick feet if I want to, so don't forget about that.
Good point. And as far as I understand, you've gone up a weight class, right? You're putting on a little more muscle now. You're wrestling girls a little bit heavier. That has to change some things. But I wanted to touch on what you just said, which is your international experience. It doesn't matter where you're wrestling. Let me see here. You wrestled in Brazil in 2017, Peru in 2018, Istanbul in 2019, Russia and Mexico just this year. Forrest, tell me what the international competition is like. What have you learned competing around the world?
Shoot, that's just to name a few too. I travel internationally pretty regularly for wrestling, and honestly, I what one it's shown me wrestling is wrestling no matter where you go. It doesn't matter. Everyone's trying to win. Everyone's trying to be the best. You got to go step out there and just and do it, make it happen. But the other part that it's shown me as I've gotten older and I've grown is like I can be the best. I just got to go do it. I got to go make it happen, and I can be the best both in wrestling and in fighting. But it's my choice to go take that and execute.
Oh man, now we're talking. So I'm a former MMA fighter. I
Mhm.
coach over at UFC Gym Huntington Beach. I had the pleasure of meeting you for the first time at Fight Ready, which of
Mhm.
course is HQ for Triple C, Henry
Yep.
Cejudo, and so many world-class fighters coming through there. I had never heard that, Forrest. Let me actually start then with a quote from you or a response from you. You were asked, let me find this. You were asked in the rapid fire you just posted recently from United World Wrestling, Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan. Do you remember what your response was?
I said Rocky. Yeah, I said Rocky.
So there's some interest in being a fighter, maybe.
Oh, 100%. Everyone knows. Every interview I've been doing, I've been getting asked. They'll start with the wrestling and then it just immediately jumps into the fighting. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to fight. 2024, I'm switching over. I've already got the whole plan for it. I've had to. Wrestling's my first love. Don't get me wrong. I want to be the best in wrestling and I'm going to be the best. I'm going to make sure that happens this year. But there is just as much an attraction to fighting as there is wrestling. And after I'm done wrestling, I'm going to go into fighting and show something they've never seen before. I can guarantee you that.
There's no better background to head into mixed martial arts with than wrestling. But I have to ask you then, if 2024 is the goal, how much have you trained boxing? How much have you trained martial arts outside of wrestling?
So I've been in Arizona for 2 years now, and the first year and a half we were here, I was going to boxing like once or twice a week, just
Nice.
individual training, learning good fundamentals, and just getting my feet wet. After Olympic trials last year, I went down to Brazil to Pitbull Brothers and spent a week down there with Captain Patricio and Patricky. Got as much training as I possibly could in a week span. And since then, we have had a lot of championship fight camps here up at Fight Ready with Cyborg, Zhang Wei Li, Figueiredo. I mean, the list goes on and on of guys that have been coming in that are of the highest level in MMA. And I've gotten to, jump into those camps, be around them, learn. I'm close with Henry and everyone up at Fight Ready. I went on visit AKA with DC, and I study the game. So I'll be ready in 24. I mean, give me right now, you give me 6 months, I'll be ready for a pro fight in the UFC, I would say. Give me
Oh
6 months.
shit.
I'd be ready. I guarantee you I'd be ready that fast if I was training it every single day. Now, even at practice every day, I'll spend 5, 10 minutes just grappling with Mark Perry, my coach, just getting a feel, of a different kind of wrestling, understanding where I can catch stuff and how to maintain pressure when someone's okay with being on their back, things like that. So I'm dabbling my feet in it just a little bit so that when 24 does come, I'm not green. I'll be ready to go full speed.
Forrest, you work so hard. That has to be, and the people around you. I mean, you got Olympic gold medalist to your right, a Bellator champion to your left. That all that stuff has to give you confidence. But I wonder what type of entrance you will make into mixed martial arts, because there are different ways to do it. For
Yeah.
instance, if you see like the average boxing champion, how they start. First, they have 50 amateur fights against people who suck. They call them cans, right?
Yeah.
And you get used to beating these cans. You crush the cans, right?
Mhm.
And you get really good at that. And that actually brings you to a higher proficiency level by the time you make it to the WBC for boxing, or
Mhm.
in MMA, of course, it would be the UFC or Bellator, right? The higher levels. You're talking more of an Aaron Pico route. First off, are you familiar with Aaron Pico? Phenomenal
Yes.
wrestler, phenomenal fighter. And are you familiar with how he just jumped off the deep end
Yep.
into mixed martial arts?
So I'm familiar with his whole story and how all that went down. I don't particularly agree with how they went about it. I think there was a better way to do that. Yes, I'm saying in 6 months, I think I'd be ready to go for a UFC, high level fight. Am I going to do that? No, I don't need to. I got time. All right. I'm going to make
Right.
sure in wrestling, I can jump in at the highest level right now. I've been training it for years. I'm going to make sure that I've got everything down pat, fundamentals, aware of all these different positions, and then I'm going to go in and start my run of taking over. But I don't think I need to rush the first part. I'm going to make sure that I've got everything down very sound. And then when I'm ready, like hit the gas, then we're going straight to the top.
Very smart. It's good to hear that you're not only a hard worker and frickin' championship mindset, but you're also smart. And
Yeah.
it's important to be able to perform at your best by the time you make it into those big fights, because that's when they really count, right? Like nobody
Big time.
remembers anybody's amateur MMA career, or what your record was, right? But
Hmm.
every fight at the highest level will be remembered and will be played over and over again in highlight reels. So for me, for instance, Forrest, I started out as an amateur. I went 5-0 as an amateur. And then I realized, like, this shit is hard. Getting punched in the face, this is not fun. It
Yeah.
looks awesome on TV. When you're actually in there and your nose is bleeding and your mom's sitting cage side crying, you're like, man, this is
A
the
little
toughest
different.
thing you could possibly do. So why do it?
It just like I said, it has the same attraction as wrestling. I don't really look at it any different. I mean, yeah, obviously it's a different sport. The scoring and the technique and how it actually physically looks is different, but how I would approach it is no different.
Mm.
My fight camps are going to look a little different than most people's fight camps. They're going to look like a wrestling camp, and I'm just going to do it different. I'm going to do it my way, and I think it's going to work out for me very well how I see my career going.
All right, it's the big question, and let's see how big of a statement you choose to make with it. But your 10-year goal, what's Forrest Molinari's 10-year goal in athletics in general? Give me the wrestling goal, give me the mixed martial arts goal.
All right, so I'm 26 right now, so we're talking when I'm 36. By the time I'm 36, I will be a two-time world champion wrestling, an Olympic champion. I will have switched over to fighting. And before before I'm 36, way before that, years before I'm 36, I will have 2 UFC belts at bantamweight and featherweight.
Woo! Holy shit! Is this the first time you said that on camera? We gotta just timestamp that.
It might be the first. I've said it like in the room to my coaches and stuff, but that might be the first time I've said it on camera. But I can
That's
promise
what I
you that's
like.
gonna happen.
That's gangster. And I could see you earn shit. You don't just set a lofty goal up there. Like you are clearly an extremely hardworking person and extremely talented at what you do. I'll say this for us. When I watch you wrestle, I see some girls who are maybe very gifted athletically, or I see some girls who are, you just seem like the hardest worker in the room. Am I wrong about that?
Um, no, I'm a little more athletic than people probably give me credit for just because my style is so in your face, but I'm pretty
Yeah,
fast. I'm pretty fast. People don't even realize I'm stronger than shit. The men even tell me that.
I could see that.
But just my wrestling style is best suited before I started working with Mark Perry, I wrestled outside. All outside shots, Okie State style.
Huh.
And I started learning how to hand fight when I started working with Mark Perry and we were in Iowa, and my style really took to that better. And so now, if you watch me wrestle and you really know what you're looking for, my hand fighting is like Iowa style, in your face, lots of movement. My shots are much more Okie State, John
Hmm.
Smith, slick. And I've kind of really, created a hybrid wrestling. And but you got to know what you're looking for to see that. Otherwise, people think I'm just all pace, and pressure. But yeah, no, I've got a lot of different stuff that I've added in my arsenal just in the last couple months as well that I'm excited to show at Final X and at Worlds.
Forrest, you are famous for your mean mug. You got the meanest face in wrestling. I actually told my producer, Billy Barnes, I was like, can you find a mean mug for Forrest so we can put it at the bottom? He put this nice picture of you over there. You see it? Look how nice you look in
Oh,
that one. We needed the
I'll
Forrest
send you
mean
one.
mug.
I'll send you one.
uh, where does the Forrest Molinari mean mug come from? Is that something that gets you in the right mindset?
Actually, I started that and it wasn't really intentional. I started that when I first started wrestling, like back when I was 14, scrawny little, like 95 pounds, like didn't know my head from my ass wrestling, like had no idea what I was doing, right? But I wanted to win so bad. And I'd get so nervous before matches, I would pace for like 2 hours. I would pace and I would sit there and try to turn all that nervous energy into getting mad, like real mad. And that's where the face kind of started. And it was just to help get myself ready for matches. And I'm like a little kid wrestling matches at local tournaments that don't even matter, right? But I've been doing this literally since day one. And every match, just the nerves have kind of gone away now. I'm at such a high level and I'm so aware of what I'm doing. Now it's just that mad face comes on, and now I just want to take you to deep water and drown you. But yeah, that mad face started way back in the day when I was just trying not to be so nervous, and change that energy. And here we are 13 years later, and that face means I'm ready to go. You see that face, you better be scared.
It seems like some girls are, Forrest. It does seem like you beat some of these girls mentally, especially when they tie up with you. I think they start second guessing their capabilities against you. I had a friend, Sam, who made it to state. He was a state wrestler. This is way back, like middle school state, so it doesn't really
Okay.
matter, right? Like you said, meaningless matches. But Sam would be so nervous to wrestle people that he used to go over to the opponent and like want to talk to them, like just kind of break the ice, a
Yeah.
little bit. He wanted to like hear their
Yeah.
voice and like, okay, this is just
Yeah.
another human being. Forrest, it almost seems to me you're doing the opposite. You're almost using your energy and I mean, you look mean, you look like you work out, you kick girls' asses. These girls got to be a little nervous wrestling you, and then you come out there and you look like you want to kill them. Did you almost see this as a psychological advantage for you?
Oh, I know it is. Like everyone already knows, like now that I've established myself internationally, they know what they're getting into when they have to wrestle me. But even in the back, like we'll be in the tunnel and I'll just glare at them. I'll just look at it and they're like real awkward, like don't want to look at me. And I'll just look at them. I don't give a shit. And I just make them uncomfortable right off the get. And then I'll run to the mat. Don't even use the stairs. I'll just hop on the stage, right? And I'll go wait in the center. I don't care if I got to wait 2 minutes if we're waiting for the cameras to get set. I'll wait out there for 2 minutes and just stare them down. Like you're about to enter hell. and you have no choice. You have to step out there. And it's just, I want them to know what they're getting into, and they can't stop it. No matter what you do, they can't stop it. And yeah, I think that plays with them psychologically. But then I back it up. I wrestle the same way I'm trying to mess with them psychologically. So, I mean, what are you going to do? I want them to know what's coming and there's nothing they can do to stop it.
I can picture you inside of a cage with some little gloves on, just
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely staring through the soul of your opponent, because I think what you just said you do in wrestling is even amplified for mixed martial arts. Mixed
Oh, yeah.
martial arts is right, such a you're going to step into a cage fight. You couldn't possibly be in a more vulnerable position, and everything illegal in wrestling, right? You could do it
We're
in
good to
MMA.
go. So, you know
You're
what's
going to use
funny
that.
is, so the first time when I went down to Brazil, the first time I trained at Pitbull Brothers, right? It's Friday morning, and they're like, I thought I was sparring Patricio in the afternoon. We roll into practice. They're like, nah, you're going now. And Captain, Captain Eric Albarson, right? So he's
Captain
like,
America's.
oh yeah, so he's got like walkouts, the walkout music, the introductions, like he's really playing this up so it feels like a real fight for me. And most people would be pretty nervous sparring Patricio Pitbull. This dude had two belts at the time and is, one of the best to ever do it. Um, I walk in there and I just don't give a shit. I walk in and I got the same me mug that I'm doing. I'm walking back and forth across the cage. And you think you'd be a little nervous, right? Have a few
Yes.
butterflies. Nah, man, I felt like peace come over me. And I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. And I don't care how good this guy is. I don't care that I'm fighting a man. He didn't go 100% obviously, but I took it as serious as a real fight. I stepped into him the whole time. And that peace that came over me, I was like, I know it's like God telling me like this is what you're supposed to do. I know that. So I can't wait for it, man. Stepping into that cage is a good feeling. I love it.
Powerful. All right. We just talked about how much of a badass you are. Snowflake. Where did
Yep.
Snowflake come from?
That is an old nickname from high school. Like my little buddies and me in high school used to call me Snowflake. And yeah, it was just like it was supposed to be funny, right? And then in 2018, it was time for me to make a senior world team. I had reached that level and Flow Wrestling had said it was Snowflake season. And after that, I made the world team and it just blew up after that. So, anytime if it's time for me to step out on the mat, it's Snowflake season and you're about to enter the blizzard. And now it's just funny because it's like Snowflake's such a like girly, soft nickname, and I'm the
Yeah,
complete
yeah.
opposite of it, but it makes up for a good dichotomy. So, yeah, I'm Snowflake.
I might be wrong about this one. Have you ever seen Stuart Little?
Yeah,
Isn't that
like the
like the
old
bad
one.
cat is like Snowflake? That's kind of what I think when I think of Snowflake. I think like you're the opposite.
All right, I've never been referenced to the cat and Stuart Little, but I would I like to what's funny you even bring that up because the girls, around here, if you're like close to me, my nickname is Bear or Snow Bear. Not
Oh
a lot of
shit.
people call me that though. That's only like the close people that I train with. We
That
always
makes
say
more
I'm like a
sense.
bear, so we call me Snow Bear. And so if we're thinking any sort of animal, I'm thinking Snow Bear, not the cat from Stuart Little.
I missed you with that one. My bad. I missed you with that one. Look, I'm just saying you're kind of the opposite of a snowflake. You kind of
Yeah,
seem like a
definitely.
destroyer, maybe the taker of souls. Maybe that'd be a better nickname for you.
Taker of Soul. That's a little dark. I kind of like the dichotomy better.
It's awesome for sure. Snowflake is awesome. Forrest, I got to see you at Fight Ready, but then I also saw you at Bellator. You were there live for Patricio Pitbull earning his title back.
Hmm.
Can you talk about sort of your relationship with this team? Captain Eric, Henry
Hmm.
Cejudo, the Pitbull brothers. Talk about your relationship with them and in a roundabout way has seeing their success at the highest level of professional competition, being in the gym with them before they compete at such a high level, has that somehow come back to help you when you compete?
Yeah, actually, it was really cool. I had gone to a couple fights, but I'm always like up at a box or something. And Patricio's fight, where he just regained his featherweight title, was the first time that I got to go through fight day behind the scenes, being part of the team. I flew out, I got up at like 3 a.m., flew from Arizona up to San Francisco, stopped at my aunt and uncle's house. Captain's, it's like probably 9 in the morning at this point. He's like, "Where are you at?" I'm like, "On my way, drive an hour down to San Jose." And I got to be part of the entire fight day. And I think it was really good for me to get to see that and just what it looks like compared to, a wrestling day. Um, and to be, obviously the whole Pitbull team is down in Brazil and I don't get to see them very often, but I keep in touch with them constantly. And to get to be a part of Fight Day and to watch Patricio go regain his title, uh, it was really special. Like, I almost cried when he won. I was freaking out. Like, that's how invested I was into it. And I'm not a crier by any means. And then there was a moment, actually, this was really cool. This will be forever, like, with me. There's the little like walkway for Patricio to come out to go to the back, and people are swarming him. And I'm standing right on the edge waiting for him to come out so I can like give him a hug, congratulate him. And he sees me, grabs me, gives me a hug, gives me a kiss on the cheek, and he tells me, "You're next. You're next, champion."
Ah,
And I mean, that moment was like, it's like out of a movie. You know what I mean? It was crazy. And I visit a couple gyms. I've been recruited for a while, kind of by some of the top dogs, the top management companies, and I was just waiting for one to click. And Pitbull Brothers clicked.
nice.
I just love, some people in the fight world are about money. Some people are about being the best. They're about being the best, and I respect that because that's how I approach wrestling. I'm not wrestling to make a bunch of money. I'm wrestling because I want to be the best. That's my motivator. The money will come if I prove I'm the best in the world in both wrestling and fighting. And they're about that, and I think that's why we click so well. And, Captain, I think, is a great coach. He likes to be off the wall and he likes to do things different. And we need that in the sport. But, like, he's a down to earth guy when you're talking with him in person. And he does things for his athletes. Like, he
Mm.
really goes out of his way to try to help his athletes any way he can. And that's why I have a lot of respect for him. That's why he'll be a part of my team, when I do make that transition into MMA. And Patricio and Patricky and everyone down at Pitbull Brothers. I love that team, and they're really good dudes, and I'm excited for what we can do in my career.
Yeah, you said you almost cried when he won. I mean, I think Captain Eric could say the same shit. He was jumping up and down. He was going crazy. I don't know if you saw
Yeah.
the video I posted, but he was yelling at my cell phone afterwards saying,
Yep.
sign that $1 million check, Scott Coker. You need to
Yeah.
rewrite that check.
Mhm.
Captain Eric's a ball of energy. He's got to be a big addition to the team. Obviously, a great wrestler as well. So somebody who's
Mhm.
good for you to work with all around.
And he just understands how I think, right? It's really hard when you're not a wrestler to understand a wrestler and where they come from, what they go through, and how their mind approaches competition. And he's a wrestler. He wrestled at a high level. He gets me. He gets how I work, and I think that aspect is going to be able to really help him get more out of me as a competitor.
Did wrestling make you tough, or were you tough and that's why you wrestled?
Hmm. I think a little of both, but I think wrestling created an environment for my personality and my toughness and who I am to flourish and to really blossom into what you've seen it become today. It was just I was actually talking to my strength coach about this the other day. We were talking about like genetic traits and some of them like they become so dominant because they're just in the right environment to flourish, and I think that's what happened with who I am as a person when I started wrestling.
Yeah, you don't get this tough playing tennis, right? Like there's something about right wrestling that
Yeah.
is just grueling.
Mhm. I mean, that's why you see the best MMA fighters we've had in history.
Yeah.
Good majority of them are wrestlers. We're just bred different.
Yeah, there's something to that. Certainly the mental aspect. So in sometimes strikers will get in mixed martial arts fights and all of a sudden their nose is bleeding, it kind of becomes a brawl. In wrestling, I think more than other sports even, it's like you're always thinking like, all right, I'm looking for this low single. If I can't get the low single, maybe I'll come around the other side. Maybe I'll start pulling on their heads so they start standing up so I could set up the double. It's all extremely technical. And then
Mhm.
the other thing, and I think this is the biggest thing for us, is that wrestlers are used to fighting tired. Like the whole point of locking up with these girls and trying to pin them on their shoulder blades and them going back and forth is to physically overwhelm them. So somebody who does jujitsu, who's a jujitsu black belt, I might be used to just laying on my back, crossing my legs. In a 25-minute MMA fight, that shit is grueling, it's tiring, and it seems to me that wrestlers are used to mentally pushing through that grind. Is that what you see?
Oh yeah, I mean that's just how wrestling is culturally as a sport. Like being tired is not an option. And even so, I didn't even think about that though. Like say in that sparring match I had with Patricio, I went 5 rounds, 25 minutes at a wrestling pace, my wrestling pace. I was about to have a heart attack by the end of it. I mean, I'm not used to quite that long with no, not really any breaks, like minute period, like minute in between periods, but rounds. But yeah, I was trying to fight at that pace. So I could imagine, doing that to another woman, they're going to die within the first round. Like, that's just all I know. That's how wrestlers are. I was even thinking, with my camps, like, I watch these camps, even championship camps, and it's always so feel good, light workouts, never any straining, never any putting yourself in deep water. And I'm like, I'm not doing that shit. That is not going to get me ready to be the best fighter to ever have done it in MMA. That shit's going to look like wrestling. We're going to get me tired. We're going to put me in the darkest waters we can and see me be able to take myself out of it and perform there. I just don't agree with that. Like, that's how a lot of MMA is, a lot of camps that I watch. It's just always about feeling good, best case scenario. We don't work like that here. No, we prepare for worst case scenario. And you know what? If you're prepared for it, it's probably never going to come. But if it does happen to happen, I don't know. You just don't freak out. You don't deviate from your plan. You don't deviate from being sound technically and tactically. You just keep doing what you're supposed to do. And that's how I train. And I think that's another reason that you just see me punish people, because I live in that deep water. That's where I'm comfortable, and not a lot of people are like that. And my coach, Mark Perry, even has to pull me out of that sometimes because I'm getting older. I can't do 4 workouts a day like I used to when I was a kid. And he's like,
Blasphemy.
dude, you don't have to live in deep water every single day. It's okay to like have a lighter technical day, but that's where I'm comfortable. So you're gonna see that in fighting, and I'm okay with going at a wrestling pace for 25 minutes.
Did you just say you used to work out 4 times a day?
Yeah, when I was younger, I'd probably do anywhere from 2 to 4 a day. I'd be running, lifting, 2 wrestling workouts. I mean, I would just go. That's all. I didn't know any better. Just go and go and go. Now, it's 2 a day. Once in a while, I'll hit 3 workouts, maybe once a week, but usually it's just 2 a day because I need to be a little bit smarter about it.
Forrest, you're a savage. That is some savage shit. My body would be falling apart at 4 workouts a day. All right. I was on the high school wrestling team. They'd be lucky to see my ass from morning lifting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wrestling practice was freaking grueling enough, running stairs and doing sprawl drills. Like, yeah, I was good on the second, third, or fourth workout of the day. So Forrest, that
Yeah.
seems to be what separates you and other people. I want to quote you to yourself, and I
All
want to get your thoughts on this quote. It was after a couple matches you had, you were talking to media. You said, you guys joke about the mad face, and that is my game face, but I still feel those same emotions everyone does. Regardless of how we look on the outside, everyone feels them in here. It's just whether you control it or you let it control you. I thought
That
that
was a
was
good
really
quote.
powerful.
Wow,
And
I said that. Yeah, that's a good quote.
it was on point. It was on point.
Yeah.
Forrest, I wanted to give you my favorite quote in mixed martial arts. And this is something that when I corner a fighter, I remind them. And essentially, it's just, it's exactly what you said. It's John Jones. John Jones famously said, it's not whether or not you have butterflies, it's whether or not you can make your butterflies fly in formation. Kind of the same message, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
It's
Same thing. Go
it's
ahead.
not whether or not you're nervous. It's not whether or not you have the feeling in the first place. It's whether or not you control that feeling, right?
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Honestly, just recently, those butterflies have kind of started to go away before I step out on the mat. Like I don't really get them anymore. It's more like, and I think it's just because I've reached such a high level and I'm aware of where I'm at in my wrestling that I'm just so excited now. Like it's not even nervous anymore. I can't wait to get out there and wrestle. And I'm like, I only had 3 matches in at Pan Am's, and I was like watching the second day of wrestling. I was like, damn, I wish I could wrestle today.
You wanted
Like,
more.
yeah, I wanted more. So it's like the butterflies have now just turned into just pure excitement and just so ready to go compete and wanting to compete. Um, yeah, but it's true for everyone, you know. You have to control your emotions, and when you learn to control your emotions, you become very dangerous.
Forrest, you were, I believe you did, wrestle in Russia in January. You were supposed to jump into a freezing river. Did that ever happen?
No, we ran out of time. It was supposed to, but I was helping coach some of my teammates,
Okay.
and because they were wrestling in the days after me, and it never got to happen. It's supposed to be a tradition every time we go that we do it. Some days the sauna house that's on the river isn't open, so it just didn't work out this time. It's all good. I'll do it next time, but I have done it the last 2 times that I went. Let me tell you, you
Okay.
ain't never been colder than stepping into that river. I'm telling you, that river is probably 32 degrees, and the only reason it's not frozen is because it's moving water. That shit is
Oh,
like
wow.
daggers. It's so cold.
Forrest, have you ever heard the name Hickson Gracie?
Yes.
You know who that is? Hickson Gracie has this documentary Choke where he's meditating in like the freezing cold rivers. And I think he was in Japan, but kind of the same idea, like jumping in the river and doing breathing techniques. If you've never watched the documentary Choke, check it out because I wonder if you do anything similar, meaning working on breathing, working on what he did was essentially he used yoga and he took what he could from yoga to help his conditioning. Hickson Gracie's idea was
Hmm.
always, if I can make them tired while I'm not tired, I'll be in control. Have you ever trained something like this about
We
breathing,
do this.
yoga?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm not a huge fan of yoga because I just get really bored. But we do a lot of breathing. I know, right? We do a
You
lot of
need
breathing
something more
stuff.
badass than yoga, huh?
I need something just a little more higher pace. Yeah, this is like way too slow. Uh, at Neuroforce, so I train at Neuroforce One with Andre Hicks, and we do a lot of breathing stuff. Um, just being able. Sometimes I'll do exercises where I have to take in as much air as possible and do the exercise and see how long I can last when the oxygen's running out. Or I'll take in all the air, let it all out, be completely depleted of oxygen, and then perform. Like your body isn't supposed to be able to perform without oxygen. And we do exercises like that to really build my tolerance. Um, and every exercise, every set I do, we measure how fast I can drop my heart rate. Now, my heart rate doesn't get very high as it is. Like, if we're getting me into the 150s, if I touch 160, this is like a max effort sprint on the bike. Like, my heart rate does not spike very high. And even if we can get it that high, I've learned, I don't even know how to explain it, but I've learned how to make it drop drastically. And it's kind of like, I look at it as like being able to change gears. If you're maxing out a gear, like you got to change gears, right? So you can go
Yeah.
faster. Well, if you learn how to control your heart rate like this, it teaches you how to change gears. So say I wrestle a 3 minute period, right? My heart rate's hella high. I go to the 30-second break. If I can drop my heart rate drastically, I'm going to change gears and I'm going to have all this space to work. Now, the other person may not know how to do this, so their heart rate's hella high. They go into the break, they don't relax at all. It barely comes down. They've got about this much room to work while I've got, this much room to work. So a lot of that breathing stuff we do at Neuroforce is kind of, that kind of ideology. And the other thing is I've trained my mind. I think it's just mental too. I've
Hmm.
trained my mind that I don't care how tired I am. If I see you get tired, if I see you crack the slightest bit, somehow my brain registers that I feel great. I could be dead, but if I see you crack, I feel great, and you pick up the pace. You change gears. You
Nice.
pick it up another gear. Mark Perry actually says that a lot when we're wrestling. When it's time to go, you pick it up a gear. You pick it up 2 gears. And I think it's all mental at that point. Obviously, I train a certain way to be able to do that, but it is part mental as well. And it's actually funny we're even talking about this kind of like breathing and cardio because at Neuroforce I have the highest VO2 max they've ever had, men or
Oh
women.
shit.
Yeah, like smoked everyone out of the water. My VO2 is through the roof.
You're in ridiculous shape to do what you do,
Always,
Forrest.
always.
All right, Forrest. Before I let you go, leave us with this. What is Forrest Molinari trying to accomplish this year? It's 2022. What do we got? We're 5 months in, so you got 7 months left. What are you trying to get done this year?
I am going to prove I'm the best in the world. And everything will come as it should after that. I prove I'm the best in the world. I'm going to get that gold medal. I'm going to get my belt. That's
Badass,
it.
Forrest. Forrest, did you know that I'm a September 4th baby as well?
Are you,
So
dude? That's
it'll be
what's
easy
up.
to remember.
You better wish
it'll
me
be.
happy birthday, damn it. I'm going to be cutting weight for Worlds.
The Instagram works both ways. You know, you can DM
I
me
got
too.
you.
So
Hey, I got you.
it'll be
There
easy
we
to
go.
remember your birthday. Forrest, I promise I'll be back at Fight Ready.
All right.
Someday we'll sit down and do an interview. It was so fun getting to know you for this half hour right here. Leave us with how fans should tune in to see you wrestle, how they can keep up to date with what you're accomplishing, what you're doing.
All right. So if you want to follow me, my Instagram handle is Forrest _ AKA _ Snowflake. It says it on the screen right here. Go ahead, give me a follow. Instagram is my biggest media outlet for following me and what I'm doing in my career. I will be wrestling June 3rd in Stillwater, Oklahoma to make the senior world team again. You can buy tickets to come watch if you're close, or you can tune in on flowwrestling.com. They'll be streaming everything. After that, I will be competing in Africa in July for the last ranking series. And then World Championships will be in September in Serbia. That should also be streamed on Flow Wrestling.
The world traveler, the woman out to dominate this sport of wrestling, one of the absolute best in the world. I'm talking athletics in general. This woman is tough mentally, physically, and is building the accolades to support it. Just awesome spending a little time with you, Forrest. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
For sure. Thanks, man.